Six Invitational to us is a celebration of the community and the community that we've really developed around that core group and grown out from there to include millions of people.
Arriver à ce SI2, 2 fois plus gros, 2 fois plus impressionnant, avec encore 2 fois plus d'ambition, c'est ce qui me drive en fait, c'est ce qui nous fait se lever tous les jours, c'est ce qui nous fait venir travailler.
It's whether or not we can get back on the horse. We need to show that we're able to innovate and really push ourselves back to the edge of that competition.
I don't want anyone else to be able to say that they've won a Six Invitational. I want us to be the only ones.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Montreal, where it is Valentine's Day, and what else could you do to celebrate that than spend a whole load of hours watching Rainbow Six Siege with the best players in the world, kicking down doors and smashing through walls, all really in the effort of saying, I love you to the people inside. That's what we're doing on day 2 of the Six Invitational, the World Championships of Siege. I'm Matt Andrews. Welcome back to Tohu, this incredible venue where we are getting ready for the amazing 3 days over Friday, Saturday and Sunday of our live finals to crown a world champion. But before we get to that, we've got second day of group stages for you. If you missed it yesterday, there are 16 teams here with us in Montreal. They are split across these 4 groups, and you can see here the results in maps from yesterday across all those groups. We've rearranged it now. Everybody who are at the top of the groups, as you see on your screen, they will be playing in the winners brackets today, and losers brackets are what face the teams below. It is a double elimination GLS group stage. This means if you lose one game, as all these teams on the bottom did yesterday, they're not done unless they lose here and now today. Meanwhile, other teams can get a shortcut to our quarterfinals by winning their games in the winners brackets, taking tomorrow off and having a rest before we fill this venue and we have some great fun with Siege on Friday. So there are the 16 teams across our groups, representing all of our incredible regions, representing teams who won Pro Leagues earlier this year, who were regional top teams for the last season as well. Your community vote team are here as well, the teams who came through the online qualifiers and teams who got an invite directly from Ubisoft themselves. 4 groups, we're going to go through them all in order across our 2 streams here on day 2, much as we did yesterday, but it is going to be winners bracket games on this stream, twitch.tv/rainbow6, and it'll be losers bracket games over on our B stream, twitch.tv/Ubisoft, and all of those as well, of course, will all be live on YouTube on the Rainbow Six Pro League channel there. Let's take a look at Group A, and I'll explain how that works, and then that's how we're going to replicate things for the rest of the groups if you're not so familiar with this format. So yesterday, Penta Sports, 2 times Pro League champions from this year. They had a very good, very simple game really over Team Vitality, your community vote team from France. 5-1, 5-1 is how that worked out. And Evil Geniuses had a proper scrap against 1UP from Germany, who turned up, nearly took the first map, lost it eventually, so they took the second. And then it was a bit of a short one on the third one. That EG finally remembered that they're EG and decided they want to make it to the winners bracket. So that's how it looks. We'll have Penta play Evil Geniuses as our first game of day 2. Potentially a final in the making if both these teams can get to that stage. Penta will play Evil Geniuses in our upper bracket, our winners bracket of Group A. The winner of that is straight into the quarterfinals as top of Group A. Meanwhile, down at the bottom on your screen, Team Vitality and 1UP, they both lost those games yesterday. The loser of that is done here. They are out of the Six Invitational. The loser of that game is over and finished. And then tomorrow, on Thursday, we'll play the last game of this group to settle which of the 2 remaining teams goes through to the quarterfinals and which is the other team who are out. So Penta versus Evil Genius is what's going to start here on our main stream, and it'll be 1UP against Team Vitality over on our B stream. And that's how it's going to work all day long. We'll go A, B, C, D, winners on this stream, losers on that stream. So let's show you all the 16 teams. If you've got a particular one and you want to cheer them on to either stay in the competition or get a shortcut to the quarterfinals, we'll bring you the schedule of the whole day. All 16 teams are going to play all 8 of these matches across, and as I say, it'll be winners bracket on this side, losers bracket on the other side. Later on today, we will see Team Liquids play Rogue in the winners bracket of Group B. Black Dragons will be playing Supremacy. That's going to be a very interesting matchup after Black Dragons sent Yeah Gaming down to the losers bracket, but it wasn't a straightforward thing for him to do, and Supremacy put away CLG. So CLG will be hanging around if they can beat Yeah Gaming later on. And then our final game on the winners bracket stream, our mainstream Rainbow Six, ENCE against FaZe. That's a matchup we can't wait to get to. Over on the twitch.tv/Ubisoft side, that's all those losers bracket games. Anybody who loses those games, they are out of the 6 Invitational. So Twitch TV/Ubisoft will see Vitality against 1UP. Room Factory from Russia play the APAC team Mindfreak. Yeah Gaming will see if CLG can take, to most people, a very early and unexpected exit from the 6 Invitational. And then Error will be fighting against the Japanese team ENCE to see if they can hang around until tomorrow. If you want to see Team Vitality against 1UP Esport and 2 teams fighting for their 6 Invitational lives, that's over on twitch.tv/Ubisoft with Enzo and Zaronic here on the main channel. And again, they're all on YouTube and Facebook as well, here on the main Rainbow Six channel for the 6 Invitational. Let's get into day 2. Penta versus EG with Interrobang and Kickstar.
Welcome everybody to day number 2. My name is Parker Intero Mackay, and I am joined by Michael Kickstar Stockley, and we're going to start today off with what has been a dream match for so many of you, EG versus Penta.
Yeah, this is a match that I don't think we've seen before. It's definitely 2 teams that are coming out swinging as the top from the region most would consider. So this is going to put down a lot of theory crafting, I think, in the wider community. Who's better, the top team from North America or the top team from Europe?
I mean, all the way back from CTM versus Penta. I know previous lands, a lot of people are saying, okay, well, you know, you look at the most successful, arguably the most successful North America team is EG.
Yeah.
Arguably not just the most successful EU team, but probably team in all of this game's history is Penta. You get to see them today in the group stages. Now, the way it works is that one of these teams will essentially be able to punch their ticket to the Invitational. The other will fight tomorrow for survival, as Matt had said.
It's also worth noting that between these 2 teams, we have almost every single one of the Pro League wins, as well as the World Championship. Now, Penta won the first season, as well as a couple seasons towards the later end, leading up to this, Season 4 and Season 5. ENCE has won Season 6, and Youngtus won Season 2, and then Continuum, now known as Evil Geniuses, won Season 3, as well as the Invitational. So they are the reigning World Championship, and between these 2 teams, we have a lot to fight for.
Right, so it's going to be an incredible show no matter what. We have some awesome matches later on today. I don't think we're trying to downplay those at all, but I just know that this is an exciting start for us. We should be taking a look at the rosters for the teams, if I recall correctly. Just waiting to hear if they're ready or not. The teams are ready. And then we'll be going through the map phase as well for our matchup.
Yeah, I think a lot of this matchup is going to come down to the map selection for both teams, because if Penta manages to get to what they're comfortable with, obviously they're going to have a leg up, but and same thing for Evil Geniuses. Thing is, though, both of these teams are so well versed in the game, so well versed in Rainbow Six, that no matter where they find themselves, it's definitely going to be a fight. I don't expect to see any 5-0s, 5-1s, but let's take a look at the Penta roster and see all the faces, which I'm sure you're very familiar with.
Same roster that we're going to see as yesterday for both teams. I don't imagine
they haven't made a roster change.
I don't think they haven't made. Yeah, in 24 hours after winning their match yesterday, I don't think they decided to make any roster changes whatsoever. So, one of the most known 2 teams that are very well-known quantities. Their roster really hasn't seen that much upheaval.
No.
You know, Shate joined Penta, made a pretty big impact. Yesterday we got to see him play for, I guess that was his debut since joining the team.
Yeah.
An impressive performance. The team looked just as good, if not better than they have in the past.
So it's going to be Eunice, Pengu, Fabian, Goga, and of course, right at the end there, Shate. This is going to be your European team, Penta. Now, again, like you said, Shate making a bit of a splash with his debut, and I think a lot of people, something to talk about here, a lot of people, professionals in the Rainbow Six community, thought that the Shate roster change, coming off of ENCE and joining Penta, is probably one of the most influential roster changes, at least in Europe's history, given that it in one fell swoop kind of upheaved the opinion of a team, and ENCE took the expectations away from them and threw it onto Penta as even more of a super team than we were expecting.
Right, and we'll look into Evil Geniuses roster as well as on your screen you just saw the Penta gentleman sitting there waiting. I cannot express how excited I am for this actual matchup.
That's going to be so good.
Now, Evil Geniuses have been tweaking with their roster in terms of operator and roles and that they play on. So yesterday, for example, we saw Necrox roaming. He's usually known as their smoke. He played entry a couple seasons ago. They've swapped him back to more of a fragging role. They've put Young on smoke. Canadian has been playing support and some site play as well. Instead of being on roam, we saw him a lot on Pulse over the last couple seasons too.
I mean, I can tell you from personal experience when it comes to Young, that putting him on smoke is definitely going to be a good change, I think, for Evil Geniuses. He used to be the smoke for our team. He did an excellent job back in the day, and I hopefully expect for him to shine on this roster with that role. Overall, Evil Geniuses, on that note, plays a little bit more of a kind of a distinct role sort of setup. Evil Geniuses, they pick a role, they pick operators, and they go with that. Penta, they'll do the same. If they need to adjust, they can adjust, and it's something they're very proud of. I know for a fact that they tout the fact that if they ever need to change operator selection, they'll change operator selection, no worries.
A lot of flexibility on both teams. You've got some of the best players in both North America and Europe on their roles on these teams too, which is so incredible. I was speaking to somebody yesterday actually about Penta, and they asked what makes Penta so good, and I said you've got some of the best players at their roles all housed on the same team. So map bans should be up on your screen in just a moment. We can see first and foremost where we're not going to be playing today. Coastline, Oregon, and Clubhouse banned out by Evil Geniuses. Penta will take Chalet, Cafe, and Skyscraper. That's going to leave Bank, Border, and Consulate. And very interesting on Consulate because something that we mentioned yesterday was, yes, they might not play it as much as they used to, but Penta sees Consulate as one of their best maps. I think it's very interesting that EG would let that go through.
I understand it. Knowing the Evil Geniuses players personally, I've talked to them a lot, and I know that they really are comfortable on a personal level on Consulate. I remember Necrox specifically was one of those players back in the day you did not want to face on Consulate. And while I think it's definitely a risk at this level, in this situation for EG to let Consulate slide through that ban phase, I do know that's definitely going to be a fight. It's not going to be a sweep. I think it was calculated by Evil Geniuses. They probably put a lot of research into that map, and on a personal level, those players are going to be comfortable with that map.
I also think it's that Penta as well is so confident of not just themselves, but also the fact that they can win, that they might pick maps that they know Evil Geniuses thinks they're good on, and then beat them on their own maps. And look at that.
Wow.
Consulate was picked first by EG, then Bank with Border being the decider. Anybody who's familiar with the North American Pro League scene would realize how good Evil Geniuses is on Border, but they're leaving it for the decider. So this tells me one of two things. Either EG is exceptionally comfortable, or they lost the ban phase. But even if they lost the ban phase, I don't know why they pick Border as the decider. To me, it would be a sure bet because they're comfortable on it. It's a great map for Penta, but it's one of EG's strongest as well.
Okay, so knowing Evil Geniuses and Penta really well, that Bank pick, Penta was reserving that. They definitely were waiting to pull out the Bank. That's, I know that for a fact they always have a map or two up their sleeve to take out the teams they really think they're going to struggle against. So that Bank is probably going to go decisively in favor of Penta. But Consulate, here we have it loading in right now. Evil Genius's pick, but historically Penta's map. The question is, how much work will Evil Geniuses have put on to countering the typical Penta play here? And will Penta, contrary to what the norm is with them, play into their regular play? They always have something different. They're always showing up with new strategy, no matter what the map, even if it's one we're all familiar with them playing, like Consulate. You can see them go to the top floor to start us off here, which makes the most sense in my opinion. We're not seeing a Ying on the attacking side. We are having a IQ. Now, IQ is extremely useful on this map normally because you will have Valkyrie cams outside. However, on Penta's side of things, there is no Valkyrie. You can see instead they've opted to bring a Legion. I think that's going to be the replacement for Valkyrie, who Legion has seen some major buffs as of late. I believe he gets one more trap, and he gets all of his traps about 45 to 40 seconds faster in a round than he did prior. When people initially saw his buff, they were like, oh, that's not a big deal. That's just, a couple seconds off of the recharge time for his traps. And no, it was fantastically huge for that operator, and you've seen him played a lot at this Invitational as a result. Chate actually going for the spawn peak on the rails, not going to catch anyone. It's a bit of a risky and a bold move at this level. I think everyone's conscious of that spawn peak and how much it happens these days.
Yeah, but I'm very interested by the defensive operator choices. Pengu on a Mira instead of a Smoke. Goga on a Jaeger instead of a Valkyrie. Shate running an Echo instead of the Mira itself. Now, one wonders for me if we can go back to how confident Penta would be. They are a team that has quite a lot of a hubris, if I can employ that term there.
No, that's absolutely correct.
And this could be a scenario where they are so assured of their victory that they can make some role swaps. We saw that with FaZe last night. FaZe's matchup against Ainz, cameraman playing on Ashe. Not typically their entry, and
well,
they were making some role swaps and some adjustments that you could potentially argue, well, they were being done in a way to maybe thwart some counter-stratting or VODs. If you feel confident that you're going to win the matchup,
oh no,
why bother at all to give away some strats? First kill goes to Young as he takes down Goga just inside of admin office from above, and you can see most of EG currently repelled up on the eastern side of the building.
It was almost a team kill there from Canadian. Luckily, he managed to dive away just in time. But you could see the entire Evil Geniuses attack completely focused on this admin office. And Penta is responding in kind. They have three defenders, excuse me, now 4 defenders watching this admin office. They are completely focused on it. And Evil Geniuses is stalling out just a little bit. They've spent 2 minutes repelled on these windows, and they haven't really accomplished anything other than taking out Goga, who was very overextended inside of the admin office. Eunice coming down into the Visa hallway. He's going to look for potential of a run out, but it's too little too late, as Evil Geniuses has pushed their way into admin.
You've got BC, who is known as one of the best for his ability to get nades and projectiles off. Putting him on IQ means he still has those frag grenades. Though taking him off Buck is a little interesting. Canadian been taken down just a moment sooner by Pengu on that Mira, but 2 kills for EG will now put it at a 4v2 in favor of the Evil Geniuses team, leaving just the 2 anchors of Mira and Echo. But Mira gets bidded adieu by BC, who has maximum usage out of those grenades. 2 kills, 2 grenades. Now Shate's going to have to clutch in a 1v4. Can't out-duel Necrox, fragging out on Thermite. Shate goes down and EG takes the lead on round number 1.
A methodical round there from Evil Geniuses. They didn't rush themselves. You saw, in fact, they did waste a lot of time, but you could attribute that to just some great delay work from Penta. Unfortunately for Penta, as soon as they fell off of that delay work, and rightfully so, with only a minute left in the round, they made that call. They're like, okay, we're just going to wait for them to push. We're going to get the kills. We're going to hold the angles. We'll be fine. As soon as that happened, as soon as they got into the angle play, Evil Geniuses stepped up and started winning all the fights. I mean, you gotta take what you can, and I feel like Penta maybe should have just held on to admin office a little bit firmer.
Put Fabian on Hibana, Jonas on Zofia. Jonas typically playing a lot of Hibana.
We've actually been seeing a lot of Zofia at this Invitational.
We have. She's had one of the highest pick rates of all the attackers. I mean, I think teams are starting to really realize how strong her 4 concussive mines are. It's in coordination with a good push and fast operators. You can go right in. You can either get a plant off. You can deny bandit tricking with it. We've seen it on border. When they go to bandit trick, you hit them with a concussive grenade. Can't really fight back. It's really allowed teams to get maximum, I guess, value out of her gadget. Doesn't really work unless you're as highly coordinated as these teams are.
I think another thing to mention about Zofia, and the main thing for me, is that with a Zofia charge, you can effectively do the work of a drone. So if you're trying to figure out if someone's playing in a corner, like typical B closet corner, you know, where a defender would anchor, and you just don't have the time to drone, maybe there's 15 seconds on the clock and you're going for repel in, you could just shoot a concussion in there. And if there is someone there, then they're going to be concussed. If there isn't, now you know you don't have to check that angle. So it's a really good information gatherer, especially considering, again, like you said, you have 4 of them. That's a lot to work with. Now, Penta going to be setting themselves up on the A balcony with the Blackbeard again. And that's pretty typical. They have put Pengu on that Blackbeard. We talked about it yesterday. Young and Pengu, 2 of the historically best Blackbeard players in the world. Both of them have seen Blackbeard play so far on Consulate. Pengu's going to down what I believe to be Young, the smoke inside of A. Goes for the shot on the foot. Fortunately, doesn't hit it and will lose his shield. Young could be salvaged, but meanwhile, Shate is going to take out NBK inside of Visa.
He's repelled on the window. I like the changes that we've seen to the DMRs as well. Frustrating for Pengu as he can't secure that kill. You can see one defender is lined up, potentially there to pick his teammate up. That's Necrox, if he can get to Young on time. Canadian eliminates Shate, who had the kill earlier on. That's the entry frag for Penta down. Leave us at what is technically 4v4 as the last rifle shield of Pengu will shatter just outside of the balcony as he's repelled upside down. BC did look like he was going to go try to pick up Young, and he falls. Canadian gets his second kill onto Fabian as he is holed up inside of admin office under pressure, but still surviving.
So it's a 2 versus 3 with Young on the floor, and Canadian is extremely lit. The only thing he has going in his favor, of course, is the fact that he's playing Ella. Coming from the spiral stairs, Eunice is looking to cut down the middle of this defense and deny rotation. Pengu still on the balcony. He's going to just linger and vault on into the A-bomb site. Goga getting a kill onto Canadian. That's the last lit defender eliminated. Eunice will finish the round, taking out Necrox, and Penta respond with an excellently coordinated attack onto the top floor.
Both attacks just looking too overwhelming, and there wasn't really any pushback whatsoever from the defense. A better roam for Canadian. A better roam for Canadian as he was able to get 2 picks, something that we didn't see Penta do much at all. It was a much more dominant round from the attackers. When they were EG, Penta had a bit more difficulty getting inside, but I think both those attacks went very similarly. Now, because neither of the defensive teams won, all sites are still unlocked. Could see potentially a lobby, but Penta had an opportunity to go back upstairs to console office. They will instead opt to try out the bottom and see if it works a little bit better.
So there's not going to be a Ying on the Evil Geniuses side. I'm sure they were probably expecting another top floor defense. Instead, as a result, they are going to be bringing a Blackbeard and an IQ. Now, IQ, again, very useful on this map, but neither team has really been bringing Valkyrie. Not trying to gather that information for some reason. It seems like they're playing Consulate a little bit odd as compared to the norm for this map. And I'm kind of perplexed by it. I mean, yeah, I expect there to be a Thatcher here maybe, or a Ying, something to aid getting into the garage for Evil Geniuses. Penta, of course, has brought the Echo, so that's going to definitely play into the front of White plant, but we'll see how it plays out with no smokes, I believe, on Evil Geniuses' side. They're going to struggle to take control over B if that's their main objective.
Doesn't really look like there's much going on for the roamers at the moment. Very site-heavy hold for Penta, and yeah, look at that.
So they're going to be clearing the roamers here. You can see they're going up for the rappel upstairs. Goga inside of Projector. He's going to rotate over to Big Desk, and he's just looking for any potential entry from the Evil Geniuses side of things. And in the meantime, Evil Geniuses, of course, a very cautious team, are going to drone him out. They'll find him, and then they'll start pushing it. This is a really nice rappel here from Necrox, underutilized. From this position, you can deny the run out from the yellow window, the yellow door, as well as the garage. Should you be attacking the top floor, you could kill someone if they impact through the garage. So that is probably the most versatile flank hold position on that rappel, all of outside on that side of the building.
And right now, Young being droned in as Goga sits inside of admin office, waiting to come into contact with the Blackbeard, though Young does look like he has control of Projector. Goga smartly will dive back to site. A minute and a half has gone, and nobody from Penta has fallen off of the board just yet. They're still trying to drone clear right, or roam clear rather, with the aid of those drones. Canadian back on Buck, now looking to see what he can find inside of Piano. It did look like he saw the leg of the bandit for just a second. Tries to get a couple shots onto Jonas, but misses, and Jonas gets away quite safely. However, more important than that, he's able to take out the bandit charges, and now sees the bandit yet again.
No.
Does a ton of damage to Jonas, but you cannot be missing those shots, especially not somebody such as Canadian. NVK finishes off what was started by the team captain as Jonas goes down and gives EG an advantage.
They have an advantage in terms of man count, but only 1 minute to win this round. They're going to need to start using these holes a lot more fervently. Shate pushing up the main stairs, going to see the Blackbeard lay down some fire. Unfortunately, not even take out the shield. So nice try there from Shate, but he has at least stalled that aggression from Young. What a flick from Young onto Shate, reciprocating the kill from Shate onto NVK. An amazing shot there with the DMR, not even an auto rifle. Necrox going to be pushing into the white van, looking to plant the diffuser. The cover of Young. There's 3 defenders left. They could stop this, but it doesn't look like they will. The smoke's coming down way too late. The C4 gets denied, and I think the plant's going to come down. It has. Goga will take out Young, Canadian, and nade onto Fabian, and the last 2 defenders, Pengu and Goga, will be pushing up the yellow stairs. Pengu at the front of white. He has 1 canister, but 3 attackers to find before he can start the disable. He's going to lay down some fire under the stairs outside, but it's not going to matter. Necrox with a headshot. Pengu will lose the round, and Evil Geniuses win another attack.
So far, the defense hasn't had as much success as you would expect. Another really nice clear by EG. Now, they took a long time trying to pin down the roamers and put the applicable pressure on the site itself. There wasn't much they could do. Once they took complete control of yellow, it was very easy for Necrox to just be able to come right in. No C4s contested him whatsoever. There was a smoke tossed out as well by Pengu. Young getting that nice flick just down by in front of white van as they had decided to push yellow stairs. And then Young getting another to take down, I believe it was the Mira, and Pengu trying to pick her up got killed by a grenade. So I mean, you had a really good response to their push by EG, which I think is surprising, because EG didn't seem to invest that much time in actually figuring out where the defense was holed up. Their drones were mostly just hunt down the roamers. They droned out the second floor, a little bit of the first floor. Didn't see as much on the basement as you would expect, and then they just reacted to where they knew people were and were able to lock down the site and completely force them out. They
did a really good job, and by the way, this is just in the spectator mode, will be affecting the play. They did a really good job, Evil Geniuses, in finding a hole and cutting it out in the defense. Just enough, just pushing enough in the piano and opening up enough holes in piano to deny front of white to the defenders. That's all they really needed. So yeah, this is a graphical error on our side of things, on our client for the host. I don't think it'll be affecting the players, so keep that in mind. It looks like they're all doing their typical thing, and I'm sure if they were affected by it, they would call for a rehost.
So on defense, bringing a very armor-heavy style of hold.
Yeah.
You've got Mira, you've got the 2 ACOGs as well. I'm interested why Necrox was running a suppressor on his MP7, but that is,
I mean, you
could
know,
just be a preference.
It's a headshot gun. It's a high rate of fire, high recoil gun. You got to get them headshots. If you have a silencer, it's not really going to change that fact. There is, like you said, though, 3 armors on the defensive side.
Right. Necrox did lose. It did appear that he lost 2 of his bandit charges unless he just opted not to lay them down. There's only 1 right now on the most southern panel. And you can see, very similar to what we saw from EG. They're going to drone out the entire second floor, make sure that there's nobody lurking, and be able to push in themselves. Right now, there's a lot of utility being, I guess, kept and contained on site for Evil Geniuses. I think that does play into the fact that we mentioned that you have a Doc, you have a Rook, they have the advantage of sight at their disposal.
Looks like our spectator is going to be going for going to be coming back. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens, but that's all beside the point. This match is going to keep playing out. Evil Geniuses have denied a lot of time here, as Penta really haven't done anything with it. And they haven't pushed into the building quite yet, and they haven't started using that piano control. We see Shate has moved on to yellow stairs, and they have control now of the lobby and the piano, but unfortunately they don't have a buck, so they're going to have to use their ash charges, their singular ash charge, to get a kill onto Necrox. What a shot from Shate. Great positioning there. Great game sense to expect that Necrox rotation from the front of white to the back of white.
Didn't get to see from below whether or not they pushed, but found themselves in a situation where there was nowhere for Necrox to go. Very exposed just by white van, and there was no real way for him out of that alive. Jonas did appear for a second like he would see somebody playing on pillars, but instead opted to rotate smartly. Now, Penta has a couple angles held down as they begin to get their push. They have 1 positioned upstairs inside a piano to look through those rotate holes.
What?
And Young just inexplicably looking the wrong way. Shate able to punish him as he comes down spiral stairs. Jonas now goes down to NBK, and after Canadian struggles with Shate, able to finish him off, but still a significant disadvantage for his team. Canadian will get disoriented. Fabian upstairs in bathroom as it leaves just the team captain, who gets felled by Fabian, and Penta just rhythmically destroys the entire team from the positioning of the players. It did appear that that was just a graphical glitch. He was, of course, downstairs. It did appear that Evil Geniuses had no idea where that was coming from. Necrox looked lost when you were looking down on him from Piano. Young had his back, hold up just in the hallway at the bottom of Spiral Stairs. Canadian wasn't able to land those shots. Just sloppy execution from EG.
Yeah, Canadian was supposed to be covering the flank of Young there, but he just, for some reason, was not. And I think that expectation from Young is what got him killed. That right there isn't, you know, Canadian being bad or Young mispositioning himself. What that is very simply a miscommunication. It was a lack of understanding as to what each other were doing. And that is calling into question the team play of Evil Geniuses. It is a little bit worrisome to see. Penta going to go back downstairs. We've seen both of these teams start off at the top floor, now favor the bottom floor for some reason. And yet again, no smokes coming to the attacking side. You have to imagine, given the amount of Ying we've been seeing so far, that not having one when attacking a floor such as this is not going to really, I mean, to be blunt, we haven't seen a defensive win yet, but all the same, it would be nicer to, I think, for the attackers to have some smokes, you know, have that extra utility to lay down disruption.
They haven't needed it yet. I mean,
right.
Both, I don't know if Penta does. I haven't, from what we've seen in Penta, not necessarily shown that they need to run a Ying or a Glass. Doesn't really work into their strat that we've seen, and I mean,
Penta has been just picking apart the defense one player at a time. They've been finding all the holes, all the gaps, and diving headfirst into them. Evil Geniuses, on the other hand, I mean, the way they won this last round, they picked everyone that needed to be taken care of in the front of white to get the front of white, and then they just walked in and planted, and all of the denial for the defuse plant from Penta was just nowhere to be seen.
Right. And I was going to say, Penta is a team that really, they've never really adhered strictly to the meta. They've always run with the operators they feel most comfortable on.
Yep.
I recall seasons ago when people would say, you know, maybe they might fall out. They're not adapting to the meta. Could we see Penta start to fall off? No, they basically just play their style of game, and they win at it. For EG, if you listen to the scrims, if you listen to other teams that have played against them, they can run a Ying, they can run a Glass, they can have that, you know, the smoke, the utility from Glass as well, and they can do it proficiently. So it's not like they're strangers to using those operators. Could just simply be that maybe they don't run it on this map. Maybe they could be more comfortable running these operators they have. This is
It's also that they don't rely on it. They can do whatever they need to do to win the match. And like we talked about earlier, clearly both of these teams don't need them, given they haven't lost an attack yet.
Right. So the defenders will need to figure something out as we are on 4 rounds, 4 attackers. Every site has been unlocked every single time because you don't have to worry about choosing a site strategically or not choosing a site strategically because you can go wherever you want. Fabian inside of Visa as mute. We have seen a Penta strat from the previous season where they run mute jammers to isolate their roamers. They do that to keep them safe. You can see there that they had tried to keep Ella safe inside a bathroom. NVK getting droned in, but Jonas comes down smartly and takes out NVK, and that's going to be the first kill almost 2 minutes in. Really great for him to be able to rotate that way.
Oh.
BC just misses the Ella of Goga, and Jonas gets another this time on a BC, but under fire from the hatch above. Young punishes him off. EG still trails by 1 operator at the moment. They have yet to get Goga out of the bathroom too. He's currently sitting with just under a minute to go. Very much alive, and it looks like Pengu has his cross. Shate takes out Canadian, leaving only 2 from EG left.
Young gets down in the hallway and gets finished off by Pengu using the gas canister. Necrox outside, gonna miss the shot onto Shate, who will not miss his. And Penta take the first defensive win on all of Consulate. That's gonna be the momentum shifter right there. What a shot. That's gonna be the momentum shifter right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's gonna put Penta in a significant lead. We're going to have to see Evil Geniuses reciprocate with their own attack or defensive win, which I don't know if it's possible. I mean, a lot of these defenses from Evil Geniuses have honestly seemed lackluster.
That round was entirely lost on the entry. Almost every single member of EG that was taken down on a floor that was not where your bomb site was located. Basically means that, number one, either you're just getting outshot, which I think was the case. BC had a bit of bad luck, probably could have been rewarded with a kill through that wall when he went for the bullet pen onto Ella, wasn't able to get it. But the rest of them was just, they spent so much time and had such a preoccupation trying to drone out the Ella and being, I guess, cut off from those mute jammers that Jonas was able to freely stand inside a piano and just do cleanup work. There was nobody there to be able to apply that pressure to him.
I mean, they saw Goga inside of the bathroom with the drone, and immediately you hear that call. You could see the call going out by the Evil Genius's reaction to Goga's position. They all started focusing on him. And Eunice just came in from the side, and he's like, oh, okay, you're going to look for my teammate? Well, then I'm going to go ahead and shoot you. Because there was no one to cover their flanks while they were dealing with one of those roamers, because the roam clear was just too tunnel vision. And that happens. That absolutely happens. But it did, like you said, it cost them the round. Now, Evil Genius is going back upstairs instead of downstairs again. Penta managing to win that downstairs hold, but Evil Genius is just saying, all right, we're going to play our own game. We're going to do it our own way, and we're going to see if we can make this top floor work. There is a Glaz. I think this is one of the earliest Glazes we've seen from the Invitational. He has actually been not played nearly as much as we were expecting him to be, but he is coming out from Penta here. We'll see if it actually aids them on this top floor attack.
He's right now, the way that we've been seeing Glaz used and rolled out by teams is that if you are comfortable running him and you usually run him, then he will be ran. But for a lot of teams, I don't think they're trying to force him in. Ying right now is the operator who is getting forced into everything. Yeah, one of the highest pick rates. Glaz is, for most teams, not very hard. Canadian will run out, looks for a rappel, completely expose himself, but look at that, all of Penta on the west side of the building. The east is all alone for Canadian, doesn't get anything with it.
And that's why you bring a Valkyrie right there, so you can have the information before you waste the run out. Necroc's going to take out Shate as he pushes into the yellow stairs. Great positioning there from Necrox. A little bit of a misplay from Shate. Typically, you would see someone drone him in that instance. Maybe the drone was downstairs instead of upstairs on the yellow stairs. Whatever the case, he was not fully informed and got killed as a result.
You can see right now BC under heavy pressure. The mirror completely gone will give him very little ability to stay alive. Fabian knows where he is. Sees just the hand of the mirror of BC, who moves just an inch behind. And now they'll go do some droning. Fabian will spot him. Spot 2, actually, with that drone. A good mark, as the drone does appear to get away to safety. But they're going to find themselves pushing up against a wall. Necrox has taken out your main entry. Goga's lost a lot of his health as well, meaning that you're essentially going to have to push at a disadvantage over the next minute while also being conscious of time. Goga eliminates NVK. A double for Goga as Canadian goes down, and that's what Penta needs to be able to burst this game wide open. Will end up concussing himself as he does battle with Necrox on the stairs. We'll pick up a second kill and a third as Necrox takes down Pengu, leaving only 2 members of Penta left. Fabian will smoke, and that will cause all of EG to pull off, as they don't want to contest against Glaz's thermal sight. Goga works his way up top of yellow stairs. Necrox has all 3 kills. He knows the Hibana is there. He'll dive, and Fabian has the cross, so Goga will be able to clean up the down Necrox, and Fabian eliminates BC. Oh, he gets taken down just by Young, and we'll get pressure now by Goga, who beheads him, and Penta is on match point, 1 round away.
Seems like it's been a battle back and forth between these two teams, but like you said, match point. So Evil Genius is struggling here on Consulate, their map pick. We definitely expected them to have much more counter in mind going up against Penta, but I gotta be honest. You cannot counter-strat Penta. The way that they operate, it's just not a thing you do. Penta always adapt when they go onto even the same maps, especially against a team like Evil Geniuses. They're going to pull out all the stops. So I feel like it was definitely a misplay by Evil Geniuses. We were thinking maybe it was in the ban phase. It definitely, I think it's confirmed here that Evil Geniuses should not have let Consulate go through the ban phase.
I think there was some speculation yesterday when they were competing against 1UP as well. 1UP is a team that is very heavy on Ying and Glaz. They have been for quite a while. It seems to predate the shift that we've seen over the last month or so, where teams, I guess, have
started to play Ying a lot more.
They've realized that there's a lot to be gained from using both of them, maybe even abusing their mechanics right now on attack.
Yeah.
And we're in a position where they let them go to 2 maps yesterday that are very Ying-Glaz friendly maps. That is a mistake, and as I said, there was some speculation online and some speculation from people here themselves at the actual practice facility and at the stadium itself, or the arena itself, that they had lost the ban phase. I don't know if I would necessarily agree, but I mean, you're bringing 2 teams that you know their strats work very, very well on these maps, and you're not bothering to ban those maps. You have to wonder why.
It is questionable, certainly. It's probable that Evil Geniuses is just trying to catch people off guard, do things differently, and mix up expectations. But I don't know that that's the right thing to do. I mean, we talked about Penta's hubris earlier. That might just be the same thing for Evil Geniuses, overconfidence, hubris, the sort of thing where, like, yeah, we can take them on their maps. Yeah, totally, absolutely. They won't expect it. We'll catch them off guard. No. No, I think I think going where another team's comfortable is a bit of a mistake, and it's highlighted here. Evil Geniuses could still come back, but there is one more round for them to do so, and then another after, of course, to get overtime total. And Eunice starting us off with a kill into Young, who, I mean, Young has been the top performer for Evil Geniuses, I believe, so far. He's been doing a great job, so not having him is going to cost Evil Geniuses a lot in this round.
Jonas still inside of admin office, has not been flushed out, but you can see on the rappel 2 members of Evil Genius poised and ready to strike. They had done a very good job of taking out the roamers early on this site in previous rounds, but right now having a bit of difficulty. You'd also seen that the Ella of Shate was positioned up inside of console and caused some problems for them. Still haven't been able to dispatch either Goga nor Jonas as 90 seconds are eclipsed halfway through round number 7 on match point in favor of Penta.
And you could see that Penta's just trying to stall it out as much as possible, and they're doing a great job of it. The repels on Evil Geniuses, not able to find any of these attackers this time. Goga last time inside of admin was dispatched quite quickly by Young, but of course he's not here anymore because of that excellent run out from Eunice earlier in the round. So Evil Geniuses, at a bit of a loss as to what to do, are going to reevaluate and adjust. Not going for an admin take anymore, pushing into Visa and Spiral, but Shate is going to shut that down swiftly with a headshot onto NVK. Well done from him, and now Evil Geniuses looks like they've lost map 1. But anything's possible. We've seen greater comebacks. I just don't expect them to be able to do it against a team like Penta, who, as you can see clearly, are starting to consolidate and reserve themselves to wait for the round to end.
You've now got just under a minute left, closing in on the final 30 seconds of a round, and you find yourself at a disadvantage of 2. You've lost 2 very powerful fraggers in both the Blackbeard and the Ash. You still have a capability of taking this back, but with Canadian going down, you'd have to imagine that there will be a real Herculean task to equal this and be able to keep going, or face yourself going towards Bank against Penta. It's only BC and Necrox left for Evil Genius. 4 members of Penta trying to hang on. Shate and Goga 2 quick kills. EG falls, and Penta will take map number 1 in a quite spectacular fashion.
We've said it before, and we'll say it again. Do not play Penta on Consulate. Just don't. It's been a conversation that's been ongoing since, I want to say, Season 4? So, kind of curious that Evil Geniuses would decide to go against that and go to Consulate again. It's just confusing.
I'm not certain. Like I said, I don't think they lost the ban phase. I don't want to say that right now. I don't want to be that certain, but you saw
pick phase, certainly.
You saw Penta. Look at even the roster, the operators that they picked for the last round. Role changes, role changes, role changes. You had Shate on both fragging operators as well as anchor and support operators. You had Fabian doing both. You had Pengu playing roles outside of Smoke. You had Jonas playing roles outside of Hibana. This could be an experimentation. It could simply be, like I said, hubris. They could feel very confident in their choices and realize we can probably win playing other operators, and then we don't really need to give away some of our strats, or maybe these are their strats, and they've been waiting to pull these out. Bank is map number 2 for us. It plays, there's some similarities to Consulate. It's a huge map. There's lots of roaming potential, and it's Penta's pick, which is the crazy thing for me, is people have been dreaming of this matchup. It was on everybody's tongues last season, and it could end up being a very quick 2-0 for Penta.
It's worrisome, that's for sure, but it, to me, seems like they picked each other's maps for some reason. I think Penta probably just picked Bank because they didn't want to go to border against Evil Geniuses. Now, I say that, and Penta, just the same as Evil Geniuses, is an extremely good border team. So it's definitely curious. I think Penta probably, in the end, they have a lot of pocket strats for Bank. I think they've been reserving those for a team they think that's going to be a challenge. Evil Geniuses is definitely going to be a challenge. They're probably going to pull out all the stops here. I don't think they're saving too much for this after this match, but we'll see if we get if Penta progresses further. Now we're loading into Bank yet again. This is a map that I think Penta's going to have many things to show us on.
So Penta starts on attack. Evil Geniuses go to defense. Right away, we'll see a Legion get brought out from Young. Necrox back on Smoke. So they'll take Necrox off the roam. They'll throw him on the site itself. Give Young likely an anchor/support style role. And NVK and Canadian are going to go back. So here's something that I find very interesting. This is the team composition and the way that they used roles last season. This is the way that they used roles 2 seasons ago. You've got NVK and Canadian back on the roam. You've got Canadian back on the
Yeah.
pulse. Is this a team making a decision saying, all right, we tried these role swaps. We just lost to Penta. Let's go back to what we know. Let's go back to what we've practiced, what we've known for many seasons, and what worked, and I think worked quite well last season, even though they didn't get the result they wanted.
It's possible. I mean, a little bit worrisome if the case, because you really want to see Evil Geniuses continue to evolve, similar to what we see from Penta every season. Season in, season out, season in, season out. I mean, they always have something new. They're never predictable. Every single time Penta comes to the field, you think, oh, this is going to be the time they're washed up. This is going to be the time that they can't influence rounds the way they used to. This is going to be the time where their strats have been read, and it doesn't happen. But with this step backwards for Evil Geniuses, at least in terms of their roster selection, or at least rather their operator selection, that might be telling of the, I think, defeatism. I'm kind of worried about it. I think they'll be fine. They'll get at least a couple rounds early on here, hopefully, but it is definitely a worrisome. No.
Fabian back on. You've got some. Look at Penta's roster. Pretty standard. You got Pengu now on Hibana, so that's 3 different people who have played Hibana so far for that team. Once again, continuing with the role swaps. Fabian supporting with Shate and Jonas, likely going to be 2 of your entries. Maybe have Goga as well. Heavy drone work down, and Bank does take a little longer to drone out just because of its sheer size. Up top, Shate's already taking control of second floor, and Evil Genius doesn't have any real pressure on floor number 2.
I mean, everyone's on the bottom floor.
And everybody now on the bottom floor. You had NVK playing on the stairwell, potentially to rotate up inside of open area, but a very cautious game from EG right now. They're not staying too far from the site, and that's allowed Penta to have all of the space. They've been able to move quite freely without having to really invest too much time in hunting down where EG is. It can work, because if the push comes on the site, you're not necessarily putting too much pressure on your anchors or support, but you might be giving up too much too early without gaining anything in return.
Shate's job of getting those mirror windows has wholeheartedly failed. Both of the drones eliminated before they could complete the task, which means Penta is going to have to adjust their push at least somewhat. You can see NVK just trying to hold this main stair. He's going to hear the detonation of his Gersmog, go for the peek, get the kill. Shate swiftly eliminated. Great positioning there from NVK, from not only the mine, but himself as well. Knows there's another here, as he saw Eunice when he went back for the hold. But he's not going to decide to challenge. He has the man advantage, and very wise, simply waits out the clock.
And just a bit of a switch now. There was 0 pressure inside of servers by Penta, and they've started to rotate. You can see that NVK knows that he gets hit with the concussive mine, but because they are both the siblings, they have a reduced effect from the concussion themselves. Pengu sitting inside of server, pressuring essentially by himself as NVK and Jonas contest each other. And unfortunately, what is going on? Jonas with 2 quick kills, NVK and Necrogs down. Fabian eliminates Young, and look at that. It's all up to BC and Canadian to clutch. Make that just BC. He's full health, but has 4 to go, and he is going to be out-dueled by a long range under pressure from 2 and pushed. He sees the Hibana come in, 0 chance. Pengu takes round number 1, and now Penta is only 4 rounds away from vanquishing EG and being the first team to make it to the Invitational.
I just want to say how beautiful it was that Eunice played that staircase battle with NVK. When the mine detonated onto Eunice, Eunice used his concussive mines, or his concussive grenades from his own grenade launcher to deny NVK the push and thus the kill, and then later reciprocated with 3 more concussions to take out NVK himself. And then for some reason, can't explain it, Young was peeking the staircase on the outside of the B window. That was confusing, allowing Eunice to get a double kill and effectively defanging the attack in one fell swoop. Great job there from Eunice on the main stairs. Usually you don't see that type of push work at all from an attacking team onto the basement of Bank.
Just judging from the perspective that we had as well, those railings did give Jonas a helping hand.
I mean, the railings always, you know, whoever's utilizing them, they're so good in this game.
NVK's gun bobbling. You can see his reticle did hit the banister a number of times. Those are bullets that should have been intended for Jonas, but just couldn't land them. And 0 bullet pen there. Not really much of a chance. A double mirror strat from B to A on soft walls rather than reinforced walls.
I'm really interested what the plan is with the shield. Now, Penta doesn't do anything just because. That shield is very important. There's a reason it exists. I'm guessing it's to force a vault should you want to use the rotation that they've opened on the left side of the mirror window. Yeah, that's what it is. They don't want an attacker to be able to just drop in the sight drop down and then rush through the rotation in the hallway. They want to make them slow down a little bit. So a bit of a speed bump in that shield. At least that's my guess from the setup there. Either that or it's aligning a perfect angle using the mirror window to hold server or something along those lines.
As well, if there's no ADS situated there, though, a grenade or an ash charge will need to be used to take that out, which is robbing more utility that can be used elsewhere, essentially forcing somebody to use their gadget.
It's not the rotation thing, because they also made it so you could rotate over the mirror window. NVK going to get the first kill of the round on a Eunice, rappelling onto the main lobby windows. You don't see that a whole lot, as it takes up a lot of time. So Eunice clearly not expecting the rappel and biting the dust as a result. NVK now pushing in through small office to main lobby to elevators. He is very aggressively clearing out these roamers.
You can see both Young and Necrox's drones right now, giving him information so he can push as close to that stairwell and as quickly as he can. But this is looking very similar to what we saw from EG. You don't have a lot of really aggressive roam prowess. Yes, you had Jonas upstairs. He was farther off site than any member of EG was at any point last time around, but you now find yourselves with 4 on site. It didn't work for EG. They weren't able to close out the round with a numbers advantage on site, falling apart very quickly, especially with Jonas's quick double kill on the stairs. Goga just situated inside a CCTV with an ADS, 2 ADSs rather.
And he even has a third.
And a third available to him if need be. That'll be very difficult to be able to take care of him. They'll burn it though with the lifeline. And now it looks like they've at least been able to take 1 out of the picture.
He's probably going to juggle another, but here comes the nade. Has he put it down yet? Yes, it seems he has, as BC's nade gets caught by a Jaeger device again. More concussions. He's actually picking these up and putting them back down to catch the nades and not the concussions. Great job from Goga delaying, but unfortunately, it's not enough. BC going to hit the perfect nade onto Goga, eliminating him. Maybe Goga being too reserved with his ADS. Now, it is going to be a 5-on-2 as NVK also eliminates Shate. That's his 2nd kill for the round. He's done a great job so far. And there's still a Nitro Cell on Pengu in these last 30 seconds, so he could theoretically deny the plant simply by himself, but it's not going to happen. Canadian from the hallway drop, takes down Pengu and Fabian, the last defender alive. This is very similar to what just happened in the round prior. This time, though, it's on the opposite team. Evil Genius is seeming dominant. Not going to check all of the... Whoa, what a flick from Fabian. Takes out Necrox. Great reactions there from the player not considered the top fragger for Penta. Now he's got 4 more to find, and he's going to choose to go upstairs with only 1 HP. It's unlikely that this is going to work for him. 9 bullets in the magazine. He's going to go for a reload. It's likely at this point Evil Genius is conscious of his decision-making and are going to expect him to go upstairs, and as a result are just shifting over towards server. One of the attackers even going up the main staircase to try and flank. That's the Ash. He's going to drop. Comes from below. Sees the mirror. Will he hit the shot? He will. NVK, his 3rd kill of the round. An excellent job from him. And it will be Evil Genius's successful attack onto the basement. And this is looking like it's going to be one heck of a match.
Much more balanced. I think that we saw both of those rounds were similar to what we saw in the ENCE era game. The teams that are winning those rounds so far have won them without really much question.
Yeah.
Penta stormed out on round number 1. EG responds this time. I like that they're bringing a Montaigne. This is not something you see every day. Leave it to Penta to find a strat for this to work.
You think the first Montaigne in the Invitational group stages so far?
I don't believe we've seen a Montaigne just yet. We've seen a bunch of Blitz. We haven't seen a Fuse with a shield, so it would be the very first time that the Mountain appears.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting decision there from Penta. A thing that I want to touch on is we're going downstairs again from Evil Geniuses, and I got to be honest, from both of these teams, it seems clear to me that downstairs is the wrong choice. You're not leaving enough flexibility for your defensive operators. There's not enough room to breathe, and I feel like the attack is so easily clamping down on that and suffocating the holds. So it might have been the right call to just go upstairs. I'm guessing Penta in the next round will, if they're successful here, Penta will probably decide to go Teller's Archives or Open Area Cafeteria to try and not only mix things up, but also just because downstairs is clearly not working so far.
The only real change that they've made on defense is they've subbed out the Legion for the Echo. Now, if you carefully spy how the Legion was used in round number 1, they basically used him for sentry duty. You threw a Legion trap down, it helped NVK got a kill, it helped NVK to get a kill on the stairs in his duel with I believe it was the Zofia. I don't know why such an early smoke is extended there. They see the Monty just by the doorway. Jonas takes just over 25 damage, and there are only 2 remaining. But going back to the Legion point, the Legion was only really used very quickly to give information to the team. You could argue that it is more important to bring an Echo, and I love that they have the Echo because that is a direct counter to the Monty as well. BC primes a Nitro Cell to see if he can lob it over top of the Montaigne, who will very quickly back up. But here's the rip of the actual C4 and just stands and waits. What's most important is Canadian is feeding him information that there are a lot, and a big double C4 from BC as Goga and Jonas go down. You can see from above now NVK circles Shate off, and you've got only a Monty left along with a Thatcher. Oh boy, you do not want Monty to be the last one alive because that round is all but over in that scenario.
Yeah, and in this 2 versus 5, it looks like it's pretty much done for Penta. So Evil Geniuses taking an unsuccessful site and making it so. With a great flank here from NVK on the drop down. He is going to get the flick onto Pengu. Great job there. Can he secure the kill onto Fabian, though, who'll be pushing up the stairs? With the shield, it's going to be difficult. Fabian has the pistol out. He's going to try and go for this kill. He needs to isolate his flank to have any chance of clutching this round, but I don't think it's going to happen. With the concussion mines as well as the Echo drone, NVK will win the fight and win the round. That's 2 rounds in a row from Evil Geniuses. And now, this first successful defense on Bank 3 rounds in.
You got to think that C4 doesn't get hit. That push completely changes. They were lined up for a very quick server's take. They were going to be able to push inside a site. Nothing really out of the ordinary. You have a Montaigne set up. You make sure that his shield will block the C4 itself. You've got somebody likely covering so that nobody can get within range to be able to throw a C4 past you. You just get a plant down behind them. That's very similar to what we see from the stock take in Clubhouse as well. You just have the Monty basically isolate the defuse plant, and then that's it. You just wait and hang on. They concussed BC behind the mirror window, which was very smart, but they were about a second too late. He'd already thrown the C4 when he got concussed, and all he needed to do was pull the trigger. Right now, very top-heavy for Evil Geniuses, though. NVK just had 3 kills in that round, but 4 in the previous 2 is impressive as well. That's what you need to see from your entries and your roamers, though. Most of those kills have come for him on defense.
Yeah, MVK, one of the oldest school top fraggers in Rainbow Six, one of the best Ellas and Ashes out there. And yeah, he's definitely showing up here on Bank. So I think the reason that round was unsuccessful for Penta is very simple. What we've been seeing on basement successful attacks is the attacking team constrict the defense. They're going to come in and isolate the roamers, push everyone downstairs, and we saw both of the teams do this in the first 2 attacks in the basement. And then they're going to start their onslaught, their attack using the drop downs and really pushing the defense to bad spots. In that round, Penta did not constrict at all. They simply went into server from tunnel and tried to push the site, which is not only old school, it's incredibly old school. And both of these teams knowing that strat extremely well because they're extremely old. I feel like that was a huge misplay, or not, if nothing else, a gamble from Penta to not take the control, which in other rounds of the defense of the basement has been offered up.
This could have been something as well that they read about Evil Geniuses. If you recall in CTM, when we were at the last Invitational, a very smart play to separate the barbed wire at the doorway of stock made it so that when the Monty push came out against Continuum, the Monty backed up and got slowed in the barbed wire, which back then was much more potent. It would slow you to a greater degree. The Monty had nowhere to go and died. Yeah. However, we saw a very similar stock push happen at the LAN finals in Sao Paulo. ENCE did it successfully, and I think people were a little surprised that a team such as Evil Geniuses permitted themselves to fall victim to something that is such a pretty common strat from back in the day that you'd expect them to be prepared for. Jonas eliminating Young is kill number 1, and both BC and Canadian take some damage from the smoke of Pengu, from Pengu, but he gets eliminated. He's playing Valkyrie, not Smoke. Shate, the Smoke player for Penta.
So that Young getting eliminated there is probably going to be one of the most influential frags in this round, putting Penta certainly in a much more comfortable spot to win this basement defense. They are going to lose Eunice because he's extended himself a little bit too much as he gets collapsed upon from Canadian and the rest of his team. Great drone work there, great coordination to deal with that roamer. But again, Thermite lost for Evil Geniuses, which means the server take is going to be much more difficult. Interestingly, Goga has a rotational out of server, and he's going to be doing the ADS juggle thing again. Worked out pretty well for him last time. He delayed up into 50 seconds, but this time he's starting at 50 seconds. So it's probably going to come down to the last couple seconds of the round for Evil Geniuses to take this attack.
If Goga can kill at least 15 to 20 more seconds, that will mean that both Shate and Fabian's jobs will be a lot easier, though. You'll have the smokes timed perfectly to be able to chain them together, keep them out of sight, and then Fabian, of course, with the C4, could potentially deny the plant either by actually killing the planter or by delaying them long enough. Though Fabian is off-site to a certain degree, he's going to push up of main stairs before just sitting and waiting to see if somebody will join him. BC's nade goes around the corner, and Fabian will take no damage from it. He has another nade ready. It'll go out. It will damage Fabian. He should hear that, as Goga's life doesn't last too long. Fabian kills Canadian, though, as Necrox had taken out Goga, leaving it at a 3v2. BC finishes off Fabian, and it's Shate left to clutch. 1v3. Just a couple seconds left. He's going to hope that they're not getting the plant down, but hope is not good enough. Diffuser planted quite successfully. Every single member of EG locked up in a similar area, and Shate just waits. He's going to see one push through Bank Vault, go inside to see. It's the Sledge who's going to be his first point of contact. BC doesn't have a ton of health, but may have a range advantage if he has his ACOG pulled out. Shate smartly wins that battle, and he'll finish off BC. Still 2 left, though, for him. It's Necrox and NVK, both of whom have been good this game so far, and Diffuser just under halfway. Evil Geniuses does hold the lead. Shate pushes up knowing he's running out of time. NVK takes him down. And strange that this is Penta's map, but EG has looked much more sound and comfortable than they did on Consulate. I think we've fleshed out why, but it's impressive to see how EG's been able to rebound.
I would say from past experience that Evil Geniuses, the players on that team, are very comfortable with Bank as a map. So it stands to reason that they'd be winning here, but they were also very comfortable with Consulate as a map. I guess Consulate's just dominatingly Penta's map. Now, interesting here, we've got Executive Lounge CEO office, which just is, okay, it's basically the worst map on or the worst site on this map. Everybody considers it to be the bottom of the barrel when it comes to Bank. There's a lot of reasons for this. One of the big reasons is you can stand on top of the parking garage all the way out there to the west, and you have everything. You have complete line of sight into both of these bomb sites. Also interesting here, there's no castle to prevent that. So hopefully they're going to get normal barricades, if nothing else, onto the windows that you can see to the west side of that reception office. But we'll see how EG chooses to set up here. Either way, definitely a bold decision from Evil Geniuses to go to this site. We'll see if it works for them. Although I don't really have high hopes. I feel like this is reminiscent of the sort of thing where, you go to Border and you pick Teller's Archives. We've seen CEO work for people in the past. It's a huge risk. And I don't know if you need to take a risk when you're 1-3, and if you go, you could easily just put this on match point.
I'm very surprised at the same thing. Teams that almost inexplicably go with the site that is not as viable as others, or maybe they've been practiced on it, maybe they know it, maybe there's a particular strat that they think that Penta might be susceptible to. That's something that we'll have to watch out for, but I too am perplexed as you don't bring a castle. Castle seems like a given on this site most of the times, and Pengu comes within a hair of being taken out of NVK on Repel.
Why didn't NVK shoot any of the Habanas? That's very interesting. Now an extra angle opened up to anybody on Garage, which potentially could have been easily denied, as well as the Habanas in the hallway wall. That's going to give an amazing line of sight, cutting off any rotation in that southmost hallway upstairs. Shate going for a nade over this wall to get any potential bandit batteries, which is going to allow the Thermite of Fabian to open up both of these walls. Great coordination here from Penta, seeing the strat, not getting confused, and knowing exactly what they need to do to pick it apart. First Thermite goes off, but Canadian with a double kill, runs out, takes out Shate and Fabian both, putting Evil Geniuses in a 5-3 lead. That's only halfway into the round. A fantastic job from the IGL of Evil Geniuses.
What an outstanding play. Very reminiscent to what we saw from Gurmi and Era yesterday. Just runs out and just kills 2, except this time on a flank, not actually exposing himself outside of the building. Now Penta finds themselves further at a disadvantage as Pengu goes down. Goga and Jonas have the site largely opened up, but now the most difficult task is being able to ensure that those angles that you've opened don't work against you. Jonas gets inside of sight and on his belly tries to take out Young. He'll get down and Young a double kill to finish things off. That is a flawless round from EG. They knew something we didn't, and they look quite good on a site that we had some doubts about. Evil Geniuses now move to match point.
The efficiency for Penta playing against them in that round, not clearing everything they needed to clear, maybe droning into stock, but not fully controlling it, and they got baited into the stereotypical thermite charge at the top of square stairs, opening up those CEO walls. That's, I mean, obviously you're going to do that, but they gave themselves away really early with those Chate needs to get the bandit batteries, and Canadian knew exactly what he needed to do there, and he executed flawlessly. But again, it honestly comes down to Penta not covering that run out.
Now, we'll go down to the main floor for Penta. They'll bring a castle along with them. Fabian last picking Ella as the timer hits 0. Could mean to me that it's just a fallback operator. They maybe didn't have something in mind. Take the operator that on defense right now is an operator where if you say, what do we need? We've got everything we need. Let's just take the operator that kills everybody. So you'll take an Ella, and hopefully Fabian will be able to make something happen with it. Right now, he and Jonas are the only 2 members of their team that have really made significant contributions on the scoreboard, while the rest of EG has largely woken up. Penta find themselves in a hole. Consulate was pretty decisive in favor of Penta, and now EG has looked very good on Bank. Border is going to be one heck of a show if we get there, because the match with Black Dragons yesterday showed us anything. It's that match point doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to move forward, though I've got to say that Evil Genius is probably feeling very good about their chances. They've just been running all over Penta, and in fact, Penta's inability to get inside of the site and get inside of the actual building successfully has been their biggest hindrance at the moment. Evil Geniuses have been very good at rebuffing any of the entries that we've seen from Penta so far. That's going to be cause for concern when usually their entry is so darn good.
Canadian getting onto this skylight staircase early on can usually cut off some rotations to the top floor, and as you can see clearly here, Penta have, I think, 3 roamers upstairs, almost a 4th, but Canadian's gonna lay down fire onto Fabian as he attempts to rotate. Oof, a barely missed shot there from Fabian. Almost getting that kill on a Canadian, but he's gonna continue to contest, actually. Both of them really hungry for an advantage in this round. Neither of them gonna connect. Just a little bit of an angle difference there, and it could have been a kill for either one. Canadian going into stock instead is gonna start to drone himself in. Not the most efficient thing right there, but at least you're gonna know what's going on in front of you.
Doesn't look like there's much drone action going on for EG right now at all. So either a good job from Penta to be able to take those drones out. Chate upstairs is going to be one who's going to be doing drone duty for his mirror. Jonas takes out Young. Goga answers with Canadian down, and Penta has a good start to the round. The C4 will miss as a smoke flies out. Necrox trying to do battle with the bandit upstairs. Fabian manages to get that kill, and it is all falling apart for EG in this round. BC manages to grab 1 frag for his team before being tied off by Fabian, leaving just NVK, who, while a great shot and on a very quick operator, has a lot of work cut out for him. And still plenty of time to make it happen, as both of his breaching charges, so he can maneuver around, but we'll need to pick up the diffuser, which right now in the Lion's Den up top. The flash goes off, and he's going to have to push, but Fabian inside a stock. You can see up above the smoke of Pengu just waiting. This is a very heavy upstairs hold. NBK had no chance whatsoever. Pengu seals that out, and Penta manages to avoid losing map number 2 outright. Still on match point, and will need to win 2 more to send us to overtime, or EG will take it.
Breaking a 4-round win streak for Evil Geniuses right there, and possibly gaining back some momentum. Curious decision-making from Evil Geniuses. That attack was one of the most difficult to coordinate, coming from the skylight stairs and pushing into CEO to get that vertical control, and seemingly unnecessary. There are many other ways to attack a Teller's Archives. I mean, if you don't want to deal with the roamers, simply come from main lobby. Isolate the roamers entirely. There's no way to flank a main lobby take. You simply hold any potential runouts from above of the CEO by having one person stick back a little bit, and you're fine. You're good. Unfortunately, that's not what Evil Geniuses committed to, and fortunately for Penta, they managed to get, again, some of that momentum back. Now, it's going to be a basement hold for Evil Geniuses to try and, again, win the match. Now, or at least this map. Now, they do have 2 rounds after this, potentially, so it's not quite overtime yet. I mean, one more round after this if they lose here.
They're going to run with the composition that did them so well on this site last time around.
Right. The
Echo Drone in place, though. The Echo Drone's greatest, I guess, greatest strength was being able to knock the Monty out of shield and prevent them from pushing in as easily as they wanted to. There is, of course, no Monty, though, very smartly on the board. A much safer strategy.
Yeah.
I think Fabian used that Thermite. Young sets his yokai out and dispatches it to hold inside a garage, essentially as a mobile camera, just to let his team know. And I mean, yeah, if you know there's an Echo, you're going to be checking for a yokai, but maybe not thinking that the garage is going to be the main place for it, especially when a lot of Echo mains will hold on to yokai and only toss the yokai out in the latter half of the round so that you don't lose it early on.
I mean, you could clearly tell that Evil Geniuses has been experiencing some garage pushes and scrims, because they're putting a lot of seemingly unnecessary emphasis on holding that garage. Typically, it's not pushed in this meta. It used to be back in the early days of Siege when the black cars' windows were indestructible and a defender could sit behind them, and the attack considered it more valuable back then. But after it became harder to hold, attackers also realized, oh, we don't really want to go there anymore. So it's not a meta place to push on attack. It isolates your anyone who goes there way too quickly. If they can't fight their way towards main staircase or into the bomb sites, then they become useless in the round. So yeah, anyway, the main push from Penta is going to be focused on these drop downs. They've opened up the Teller's drop down, and I believe, I want to say the open area drop down. They're also pushing down these main stairs, which oddly have been extremely influential for both teams in a lot of these basement attacks or defenses, given the amount of times they've been pushed.
You can see there was a change in where their push was coming from. Leadoff kill is Fabian as Young gets taken out, but NVK eliminates Shate, puts us back to an even contest between the two teams, though he has just a fraction of his health left. Young being gone means no yokai, which means no late round defusal from being knocked out by one of those concussive bursts. You can hear, speaking of concussive bursts, you can hear the lifeline being shot off in the background. Will disorient the foes that it finds, as Fabian able to eliminate Canadian while also getting his exothermic charge down the pulse gun. Those are two crucial operators that are benefiting from how late in the round it is. EG will miss them sorely. Fabian had taken some damage though, looks inside a vault, sees there's nobody there. Penta just waiting for a push. Simply hanging on. Pengu eliminates BC, and EG still struggling right now, though Necrox takes out Jonas, and NVK goes down, meaning it's all up to the smoke to try and hang on. He sees the thermite, gets a shot in, and downs the thermite. Wow, but Diffuser is down as well. Necrox just needs to wait 20 seconds, but Goga manages to push up, and there's no chance at all the smoke getting pressured, knowing Diffuser is down. And that's a clean shot.
Necrox, unfortunately, when he went for the repeak, which, you know, you could say, oh, he just shouldn't have repeaked, he shouldn't have repeaked, he should have repeaked. When he went for the repeak, his holographic sight perfectly covered Goga's position at that time on the ADS. He didn't even see the IQ that killed him. And that is, that's a tough feel right there. You know, he's got to be kicking himself right now, thinking to himself, oh, I could have won that round had I been able to see my enemy, had I been able to fight my enemy. But that's the downside of the holographic sight. That's the reason you bring the reflex instead. It's up to you. Do you want the optic or do you want the peripheral vision? Now, because of that, Penta is still holding on in this match. They're going to go downstairs into the basement, which has been mixed results for both teams.
So they get the advantage of going back to CCTV. You're right. Penta has actually never won this site before. So they're going to hope that they need to, or else their map is over. They fought on CCTV 2 times. Their only defensive win coming on Tellers. It came at the right time, of course, as they're still staring down the barrel of match point. But EG maybe starting to sweat with 2 rounds in a row that have gone in favor of their opposition. And right now you can see how heavy Penta is investing on that first floor to try and stop EG from being able to push right in. Both very aggressive teams. EG is a team that can literally just bulldoze their way to a site very quickly. Saw that when Penta tried it, didn't work. It got rebuffed just outside of CCTV. But you don't want to take that gamble.
I think the way to describe Penta and EG both, and when they fall, kind of how they fall into the same camp, is they are very calculatedly aggressive. They choose their moments to push, they choose their moments to hold back. They're never just ever one thing, and that makes them unpredictable. That makes them dangerous, and that's what makes them some of the best teams out of their region. Now, Evil Geniuses starting the roam clear. They haven't actually done much here. They have got great positions to execute, but they're kind of transfixed with Pengu at the top of these server stairs, and as a result, might not be conscious of the Ela inside of Cafeteria, though this hole in the wall to Cafeteria, if opened up by Canadian, could be extremely influential on moving Goga.
They're having some difficulties with Jonas trying to find the Vigil, who looked like he was found early on. And right as I say that, BC not only finds him, but punishes him. And gone is the Vigil, but a minute and a half gone as well. Goga still up top, waiting to try and peek Canadian. You can see rubbing his head. He is disoriented. Another mine will go out, waiting to see what happens with the Ela. Canadian lighting him up, but not able to finish him off. Will use another concussive mine, which misses its target. Frustratingly so. Has an opportunity for maybe Young to help coordinate a push, but they're having Canadian do it alone as now BC drops, and the Sledge takes out another. So that's 2 for BC at the moment, leading his team right now in this round, hopefully towards a victory for them.
Last minute of the round, and BC, a player you don't typically step up, has been getting the necessary frags for his team, and there has been a lot of time wasted by the roamers, but ultimately they're off the board, and Evil Geniuses is ever so good on attack in that last minute. What an angle from Pengu, unexpected entirely on top of the site table. I mean, you don't see that ever, and it definitely caught Evil Geniuses off guard. BC, again, biting the dust. And that's your top fragger for the round off the board. Evil Geniuses still has the advantage of control, using those drop downs wisely. Gonna light up Pengu and force him off of the A bomb site. Time's ticking down, and Pengu will get eliminated in the hallway by NVK. Shate and Fabian, last 2 defenders. Shate gonna be inside a vault, Fabian inside of a garage. They're just waiting patiently for the drop. 20 seconds, they only need to delay and stay alive. NVK cannot find that angle. The smoke's going to push into B rather than stay in the red hall. Not going to try and expose himself. Diffuser has been planted all the while. Shate and Fabian playing too passive. They're going to have to go for a retake now. And NVK above, that's not going to happen. Shate gets shut down. Necrox finishes Fabian. And that's match point done and dusted. Evil Geniuses move on to map number 3 in this best of 3, which will be Border.
Couldn't even imagine how excited they must be. EG, one of the most animated teams. I feel like Canadian screams after even the slightest kill that his team gets. But
can we get a woo?
Can we get a Canadian woo, please?
I definitely think I could hear it through the lack of a mic even.
I was actually in the practice center when they were playing 1-up yesterday, and you could hear him clear as day when it was going on. So especially in that third matchup when it was all too important and very tense. So Border awaits us as the first map, Consulate, goes in favor of Penta. Not really a surprise that Penta won on Consulate, but I think a little surprising how good EG looked on Bang. Not that I discredited them, but Penta has looked really good so far, not just from yesterday, but also today. Consulate is a very strong map, and Bank is a map they are familiar with. There's not really any of the 9 maps that Penta is not familiar with or unfamiliar with. But with Border, you're bringing probably the best North American team on Border against one of the best European teams, period, competing on what should be a pretty even matchup unless something really falls apart for EG and Penta is able to blow through them. I think it's too close to call how it's going to turn out.
I absolutely agree. There's no way to predict a map like Border, one that both teams have to be proficient in. I mean, Evil Geniuses in the past have looked oh so strong on it. It's been one of their preferred, and I think that they have a slight edge going into this map. But you cannot count Penta out. You just can't. And they change every single time we see them play. We haven't seen either of these guys, any of these 10 players play in an environment like this since the Season 6 finals. So beats me. Maybe Evil Geniuses somehow became bad on border in the downtime. Maybe Penta practiced it hard in the expectation that they would play Evil Geniuses at this event. Anything is possible. So we'll find out once we actually get into the map.
One thing that I'm going to be looking for is how much those role changes that they made just between map 1 and map 2 made an impact on them. You took Necrox off of his the fragging role that you had him on in map number 1. You put him on more support and anchor-oriented roles. You put Canadian and NVK as the two to carry the team on not only your roamers, but also your entry, and it worked. It worked very well. You relied on BC to be able to get and create the space that he needed, as Canadian, especially on Zofia, was able to enable the rest of the team to move freely. You saw NVK was able to get a ton of kills because of good drone work, because of Canadians played to disrupt, and especially in that last round, the concussive mines from the Zofia of Canadian allowed BC to get 2 very important kills and delay a lot of time to get him in position. So those tweaks that they made to go back, or fall back rather, on habits that they had a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, before they started experimenting with operator changes, worked. It paid dividends very well. On border, are we going to see that? Are we going to see them stick Necrox and Young as strongly on site? Are we going to maybe see Canadian play some site and let Necrox go back to roaming? That's going to be a very important question for me, and I think the answer is going to determine whether we see Penta win or whether we see EG win.
I think to start us off on border, what's going to happen is Evil Geniuses are going to play a very it's not up to Evil Geniuses. This is what Penta's going to do. Penta, what they're going to do is they're going to play very passively. They're going to wait for the pushes. They're going to wait for the aggression, which we have seen from Evil Geniuses in the past. If they don't see it, then they're going to start to adjust, but it might cost them a round or two early on. You can see Fabian in the IGL for Penta talking to his team, thinking about what they're going to do leading into this match, it being as serious as it is. I mean, these are, again, this is considered by many to be one of the most important matches in the entire event. It's the same things happening on the Evil Geniuses side of things. We'll see what they decide to come up with. But yes, I think that we're going to see Penta play passively. I think we're going to see them expect the aggression. I think Evil Geniuses, it's going to come down to them whether they do go for those pushes and play into Penta, or if they play passively. That will decide a lot of the influence on the round count.
Right. When we've seen them play last season, let's just look at last season because it's probably the best sample size we have, and the most recent one is they're so aggressive. NVK's ability to roam on Jaeger, as well as their entry, was able to just completely dominate and decimate any defense that you could see, or any offense as well that tried to get inside. One of the best things that they were able to do on defense was they pushed Penta back when they started to come inside. It was smothering and it was suffocating, and it made it so that when Penta tried to get in the building or tried to get close to site, they were always contested. We didn't see that on Consulate, but with the way that Evil Geniuses plays border, that's a very similar style. So this could have been a strategic pick. They could have picked Consulate first because they knew they were going to lose it and just hoped maybe we can push them to border if we're confident in bank and border. I'm not entirely certain. Like I said yesterday, some teams like to pick the safe map for the tiebreaker. Some teams like to go with the safe map first. With that said, border on what is going to decide our first team to make it into the quarterfinals of the Invitational. They will have tomorrow off. Will it be Penta, the 3-time champions, or will it be Evil Geniuses, the defending Invitational champion? We'll find out as map number 3 begins.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Defense for Evil Geniuses, Armory hold, go figure. Attack for Penta, Glaz and Ying combination here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, border not typically considered the map that you're going to want to bring that combo, but there's definitely ways you can make it work. We'll see how it is Penta does that, or how it is that Evil Geniuses shut that down. You can see they're going to be going for a conservative strategy on the B side of things. Young going to open up the... Wait a minute. I said conservative. I was wrong. BC going for a 75% hold with the mirror window inside of CCTV. We have not seen this hold, I think, in all of the Invitational. Yeah, this is the first time we're seeing it happen, at least from my recollection. So an interesting decision there from Evil Geniuses. We'll see if it works out for them. There is no Zofia on the attacking side, who... Zofia is one of the operators we cited as being the reason why we don't see the 75% hold nearly as much. And if you're wondering what that is, it's the hold where, as a defensive team, you push into CCTV and try and delay that beachhead as much as possible, using the mirror window that faces to the east, but can also cover the south and the north. as well as your south doorway to CCTV.
Most teams have been conceding CCTV almost right away and not bothering to challenge in that or security or monitors at all, and just giving up that space and trying to make sure that they're playing inside a fountain. And the reason why, I would say, is because by and large, the most activity we've seen on this map has been on the side of Fountain and Office. There hasn't been a lot of action on Armory. It seems like most Armory pushes don't last too long. Necroc's under fire inside of Fountain, had taken some damage just a moment ago. Shate missing his drone, he'll have to pick that one up. Of course, Twitch drone, no ability to leap at all, but won't expose himself to the window. Unfortunately, he will kill about 10 seconds. Just in case there is a bandit juggle, the exothermic charge of Goga gets picked right back up, and we'll see if Canadian can get it in time. Unsuccessful. He'll manage to try to get away. The smoke will come down, and Jonas will push right up. The glass takes a ton of damage. You can see the yellow through the broken walls. He'll push inside. If Jonas can go down, that'll be crucial for EG to be able to take the glass out of the fight. It'll worry them very little. Jonas gets one before Canadian falls. BC goes down two, and Penta storming in gets 2 kills very, very fast. This is an aggressive push from them, and it's working.
They have control over offices, and Fabian's going to secure it even more so with Necrox getting eliminated inside of Fountain. Shate gets another for himself, and Eunice finishes the round. NVK going down in the hallway. It seemed like EG had a great setup to counter this exact push. But Eunice, what a shot from Eunice. With some excellent glass play, pushes in through the main hallway, the one thing EG could not let happen over cover of smoke, and will win the round. That's the Ying Glass combination play that we've been expecting to see, that we've been waiting to see for this entire Invitational. Perfectly highlighted right there. What are you to do when someone who can see through the thing you can't just pushes in and kills you?
It did look like they had a couple of crossfires set up.
Yeah,
Jonas started to push down. It worked very well. They just couldn't land those shots. You see he got shot 3 times and was left with just a shred of health and then downed. Even if you manage to down the glass, there's a shroud of smoke preventing you from physically seeing that the glass is down. And bear in mind, there's no notification, so you don't know if you've downed him. There's nothing on your screen to denote the fact that you were able to get a successful down. Right now, EG gets blocked out and a flawless round from Penta, and I would say that is as strong of a start as you can ask for. All of the team putting in work where need be. They will head to defense, and they will also defend lockers, but no Ying Glass being answered from EG. I had one team refer to it yesterday as, if teams don't run Ying Glass against us, we win. If teams run Ying Glass against us, we probably don't. And I think that's one thing that all these teams need to keep in mind, especially with how much prevalence we've seen out of Ying, is you need to be prepared. Could potentially be hurting EG that they're not bringing a Ying along. I mean, but we know that she's been in their strats before, so why is it not coming?
A lot of people might be thinking at this point we're being a bit of a dead horse. You know, it's an ongoing conversation that we're going to have for the entire Invitational, and the reason is, inside of scrims, talking to all these different teams, it dominates the current meta. I mean, we haven't seen it. You guys haven't seen it live because, of course, there hasn't been a pro league going on. We've had a long off season leading up to this event, but that's what everyone's saying. It just dominates the meta. And unquestionably, in that last round, it won Penta that round. If it weren't for the glass pushing hallway over cover of smoke, they wouldn't have been able to get those that immediate frag that opened up the push from the beginning. Now, Goga going to be getting forced out of Fountain, but he's going to opt to stay. The mirror window has been disabled, but he has a hole behind him, which means as Canadian drones him out and gathers his information, his teammate is likely to try and peek and get the kill on Goga. But it's not happening so far. Goga's really doing a great job of wasting time and not giving up his spot.
I was going to say they need to pressure him from 2 angles, and Canadian makes the smart rotate after he's been droned out. Goga, unable to get that drone, means that he will continue to be exposed. Jonas jumps up to try to fight for the trade, and they'll get it, and that's exactly what Penta needs to do, as Pengu takes down Necrox to give Penta an advantage after a smart push-up from Canadian. Penta reads that perfectly and responds in kind to completely slow any push that could have happened from EG and take the advantage away from him.
BC trying to contest this roamer downstairs, but gonna miss his shots. That is huge. Fabian slipping away, despite BC knowing exactly where he is. That's gonna be a bad thing for the rest of the round, obviously, for Evil Geniuses. 1 minute to go, and a man disadvantage in EG's side. They're gonna need to pick up this diffuser that's just in the entryway to Fountain. They can successfully do that, but the flashbangs have missed from NVK, and Eunice will get the easiest kill of his career. Meanwhile, downstairs, BC trying to disable that site player. Fabian going to take out Young inside of Fountain, and Pengu, I believe from the side, yes indeed, will take down BC, winning the round for his team and putting Penta in a 2-round lead early on Border. Now that is not what you want to see as Evil Geniuses in this third map of this best of 3.
It was only, from my mark there, the only player on EG who was able to get a kill was Canadian. Now we'll see once again another Ying Glaz come out, and here it is. Like you said, beating a dead horse, but I think it does need to be denoted multiple times, or noted rather, multiple times.
You're going to see more and more and more of it as we get closer to the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and then the actual grand finals. It's just going to be more Ying, more Glaz. The more teams start to say, oh, we want to bring out these strats. I mean, yesterday, it's possible we didn't see a lot of Ying Glaz because teams were thinking, we don't want anyone to expect it from us. We don't want anyone to count on seeing it, and we want to save it till we really need it. So in this match, Evil Geniuses versus Penta, this is the sort of match where both teams are pulling out all the stops, certainly.
What I find most surprising is that while we saw a lot of Ying on this map, Glaz just didn't seem to get brought to Border. I think the agreement or the general understanding was that it's close quarters. Yes, the destructibility can give him longer sight lines, but a lot of that depends on how the defense sets up their sight. If they're giving you those sight lines, EG did just that. They created a lot of space for the Glaz to be able to look long range, and that hurt them. They were able to take that away from them very quickly. Penta was able to take that away from them very quickly, and EG found themselves fighting from behind against an operator who they just simply couldn't see to contest.
Canadian breaking this north window, possibly looking to throw out his last cam, but unfortunately for him, there is somebody outside probably going to find that cam and shoot it. Actually, Chate might not have seen it. Neither might have Pengu, which is kind of interesting. I guess they may not have been paying attention, which means Canadian's going to have a really great camera. Chate, too accurate with his Twitch drone throws, is going to lose one of them to the bandit battery on the wall, and the other to Mira simply waiting for the second follow-up drone. So that's no mirror windows that will be opened up in this round, and a huge loss certainly for Penta, which is going to allow the hold for Evil Geniuses to be that much easier.
So they've taken CCTV, you've seen they've fallen off. This is it, the Ying really comes in. They're attacking Armory instead. And they'll be able to push that Mira out very quickly, though Chate gets taken down by Canadian as he pushes out back through Workshop and looks to see if there's anybody there on his side. Necrox eliminating Jonas means that for the first time, EG is starting to answer the call. You see they fight for a trade. BC comes in, a double kill as he takes down Fabian and Goga. It's all up to Pengu for an ace clutch. No problem whatsoever. Smoke's going down just to allow an opportunity to rotate. The smoke will get into half wall. Canadian eliminates Pengu, and EG is able to stop themselves from going down 3-0, a hole that might be too deep, too early to crawl out of.
You could see Canadian there extremely excited, and I guarantee there was a woo. Guarantee. We'll have to ask Canadian after the match, but that is some momentum regained, and definitely your mentality is going to be significantly improved off of that round win, given the weight of this match again. Ventilation Room Workshop from Penta coming off of a successful hold of the Armory. So no mix-up here, not going to customs. They are definitely straying away from the idea of holding CCTV in both their downstairs hold as well as their upstairs hold.
Well, we'll see a castle being brought out for Workshop Tellers. This is going to be a strategy that we saw ENCE used a couple times yesterday. I'm imagining that Pentas will look very similar. A big component of that, keep your mirrors upstairs. Have somebody playing inside an office. Essentially guard the sites where the bombs are above. Make sure that they can't take that control away from you, and that if they're wrestling you for it, you kill as much time as possible so that the people on the main floor, the actual site itself, are able to stop that rising tide when it finally crashes over you in the dying seconds of the round, if it even gets there. I mean, we've seen that, what was it? It was EG in map number 1 on Consulate. All of them died without even being able to get within, I guess, walking distance of that site.
I mean, on your note of the rising tide, if you can stop the tide from developing in the first place when it actually crashes against the shores of the site, it's not going to accomplish anything. So like you said, I mean, if your roam is good, then, I mean, what have you? What's the attack going to do? Considering that you can also on the site roam above your site by going into Armory Archives, which is considered by everyone pretty much to be the dominant site on this map, yeah, may as well. Why not? NVK going to be opening up the east stairs, which is typically the initial beachhead for the attack on an upstairs attack. So they are going to be pushing towards offices and archives.
We have a brief update for you if you don't want any spoilers. Now would be the time to mute. In the other channel, we have Vitality versus 1UP. 1UP took map number 1. We are currently in overtime of map number 2 between both teams. If Vitality wins, there will be a map 3. If 1UP wins, Vitality will be the first team sent home, and 1UP will play tomorrow for the second spot in group number A, and will play the winner, or rather the loser of this matchup, the winner of this matchup, successfully goes to the Invitational. Mind you, Necrox is now going to try to push inside a bathroom and apply a lot of pressure to Fabian. You can see finally they'll bring it out. Misses his shots though. You can't be missing those shots. Fabian able to get away, and Goga rather, able to eliminate Necrox as Young had gotten a kill earlier on to Pengu. And that'll leave us now all tied up. Goga down though from above. Jonas seeing if it's safe to be able to pick his teammate back up. And it is. They'll be able to grab Valkyrie and they'll be back up to a 4v4.
From behind, Canadian takes Fabian down, and that's a very common angle for Fabian to not be conscious of. Canadian now got to start working his way upstairs in the main hallway, meeting up with his teammate MVK, and focusing on a push for these 3 out of 3 defenders all above their bomb site. The question is, are they going to go for a plant, or are they going to actually try and hit the roamers? They have 58 seconds left to decide. They're not rushed to make this decision. If they can simply plant where there's no coverage from Penta from above, it might be an easy round for Evil Geniuses. If they go for the push, it could be very dangerous.
There's nobody on site right now.
Exactly.
All 3 up above.
Through the wall. Takes out Eunice, BC, one onto Goga, and the last defender, Shate. He hits a nice shot onto MVK. Can he get another? Not enough bullets in the mag. Pulls out their shotgun. Takes down Canadian. 2 more to find. Diffuser has been planted, so he's going to need to slow down. He's going to need to start thinking about what angles he wants to peek. Buck is challenging the drop down. Will light up Shate somewhat, but it goes both ways. BC takes a couple bullets. The drop is successful for Shate. That's not supposed to happen. He's got to deal with a crossfire here. Both of the last 2 attackers have rotated into the hallway and tellers. Just waiting out the ball. Here comes the push from Shate. The long angle from Young, prone on the floor behind the soda machine, will finish off Shate, win the round, and Evil Geniuses with a decisive attack. Finding out that there's 3 roamers above and just going to the site.
We have a ball game. A match that was hyped up so much is living up to its billing. All tied up. I like that we see 2 from Penta in a row. Now 2 from EG. Both winning on defense, so now now EG will need to go somewhere else. Ventilation Workshop will be where they go. Penta did not go customs. We saw when they played Vitality yesterday, they went customs immediately every time that Armory Lockers was locked out. We always like to touch upon how it was Penta who made customs be a viable strat. They almost single-handedly showed the rest of the teams and essentially the world, as every region now uses customs after Penta was able to show its viability. They did not do that this time. Do you think a good reason for that could be? They know that EG is expecting them to go there and likely has done their homework to know how best to counter.
I think that's definitely something to touch on. I think it also plays into the fact that Penta as a team, they like to be unpredictable. They like to do things differently. They don't like it when, so yeah, they invented that strategy, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later, and because of that, people expect it from them. You're absolutely right, and I think, yeah, EG rather, probably has something in line to counter just that hold, even though, you know, they kind of did a CCTV hold of themselves earlier. They would expect to know how to deal with it. So one thing I want to touch on really quickly is the whole Penta thing, inventing the hold upstairs in customs, and the beauty of it is that all of the pieces of the puzzle were there. They were laid out by other teams earlier in Pro League. You know, people knew all about all the stuff that was required to hold that site. I mean, the hold above the bomb site inside of stock, people found out about that like the season in the map came out. It's been out there for a long time. The mirror window in CCTV that makes holding CCTV much easier, that had been out for probably about 2 months before Penta actually figured out you could put those 2 things together and create an amazing custom hold. So, you know, it's the sort of thing that is ever-evolving meta in Rainbow Six, and the beauty of it. And really, again, props to Penta for making that happen. But in this round, again, like you said, they haven't chosen to go to customs, but they are choosing to contest customs. What was that? Was that that was Fabian? Where was he?
That appeared like it might have been a preset C4.
It definitely was, but where was Fabian? Oh, he was in CCTV right next to the drop down. You can see he did a little bit of a hop. Now he's hugging the monitor on the table above. Great placement from the C4 of the Canadian there, and that's going to be an early man advantage, as well as all of your disruption dealt with from Penta. Now all you have are the smokes from Eunice to deal to go ahead, and on vertical control, of course, from Penta, to go ahead and give them an advantage.
I feel like we don't see this that much. EG has nobody upstairs. All of their roamers are guarding different parts of the main floor. They don't even have one roamer up top at all. They've completely given up control upstairs. The last I saw it was NVK, who was playing on stairs. He's now worked his way up. A couple minutes ago, he was just playing on stairs by the front door, and now he's the only one that they're going to have up top, as he had been, like I said, playing just close to sight on those stairs. That's killed so much time now, and they haven't been able to put any pressure on any of those, I guess, those arterial sites, and now they're going to have to not just contend with the players on site, but also those not too far off, as the Castle of Necrox eliminates Shate, and EG could potentially take their very first lead on Porter.
Inside of B, though, Young's going to get drop shot by Pengu. Great play by him. Necrox does eliminate Pengu's support, though, before being taken down himself. It's all up to Pengu in this bomb site. From behind, NVK is going to eliminate Goga. Now a 1 versus 5. He's already taken out 2 of them. Can he get 3 more? No. BC shuts down Pengu and wins the round. And like you said, the first lead for Evil Geniuses and their 3rd round in a row.
So they will be able to go back to Armory when they move to defense next. We're guaranteed at least 2 more rounds of Border in what has been a pretty back and forth map. Probably the most even of the 2 maps so far. We saw a commanding start by EG on Bank. Penta closed that gap a little bit before EG prevented themselves from having to choke and go into overtime. Whereas with Consulate, I mean, we were pretty even. It was 3-2, very similar to the scoreline, but I think Penta looked much better on a lot of those rounds. There were a couple rounds where EG barely managed to win them, though mind you, as we said earlier on, some decisive rounds too. Right now, Penta needs to shake something up because 3 rounds in a row from EG, they've got the momentum, they must be feeling good. Both teams can go back to Armory upstairs. We'll see them do just that. A good site to hold, but I would say EG definitely has the momentum, and there's a Ying on the table, no Glaz. This could be an Armory take with the composition I see.
I absolutely agree. It looks like it might be an Armory take. Now, we have been seeing mostly opposite takes from both teams. The Armory side is a little bit more difficult to make work, but it's possible, that's for sure. Now, prep phase just coming to a close here. Penta has opted to go for the fountain hold with the mirror window, and Evil Geniuses look like they're setting up for CCTV take early on.
We have another update for you. Please make sure you're muting if you don't want to hear the spoilers. Our very first team to exit the Rainbow Six Invitational will be the community vote winners, Vitality. They fall 2-0 to 1UP. So 1UP will guarantee that they play tomorrow. They play the loser of this match now. Canadian trying to get the mirror, does so successfully, body blocked by Shate for just a second, and just to snag 10 HP off the mirror, but more importantly, now will deprive them of the ability to play safely on the Armory wall, which will only make a Thermite Ying push that much easier for them.
Yeah, and you can see that we have NVK holding a rotation between sites. They are going to be cut off if they're inside of B. They won't be able to go into A because of this angle, and it's a very, very long one. Difficult to challenge as a defender without that ACOG. Fabian has been allowed to inch his way downstairs, and that's a lot of control to give up from EG, but they are going to eliminate Shate, who is the main A-wall site hold. Now that's a very important frag, and that's just on our side again, ladies and gentlemen, so don't worry about that influencing the game. A little bit of an error there. Thermite, though, goes on to the unreinforced wall of A and manages to open it anyway. Oh, just press mouse 1, Young. He decides not to. Playing it safe, just going to go for the angle, holding it for his teammate to maybe get, what the heck, through the wall. Going to eliminate Young. Pengu gets one of his own onto Necrox, and it's looking good for Penta.
Very smart play. You saw the Valkyrie of Goga peek around the corner, saw Young positioned, and just instructed Jonas where he was. And it doesn't even matter if there's a wall there to keep him safe. And now Candelas go out. C4 from Goga goes nowhere. He'll push up aggressively, takes out BC. Sees 2 more. Goga takes out NVK before being refragged. And it's all up to the team captain of Canadian to be able to try to keep the dream alive, to push him to match point. He'll get pushed by Pengu, but he shreds him. And Canadian now in a 1v2 to clutch it out. Both the German operators still left in both Jonas and Fabian, neither of which are slouches at all. Fabian looked like he was going to push up main stairs, but Canadian waits patiently, gets hit by that concussive mine, and they know Jonas trying to aggress, but nobody nearby. Fabian rotating back to east stairs, and Canadian just taking his time. 30 seconds and a ton of patience. He does have the diffuser, so he can start to get the plant off, but pushing through Armory Wall, there's very little coverage for him that won't be exposed. And Jonas still sitting and waiting, will not just have an audio cue, but also be able to have the speed to push up effectively. Canadian peeks around the corner, he sees the bandit, but Jonas with a great shot. You cannot peek like that onto Jonas. He finishes it off, and we are all tied up.
Nice try there from Canadian, but ultimately, just allowing Goga to push through the smoke like that, huge mistake from Evil Geniuses. That's the danger of not having a glass to deny the push before you actually get through the smoke. You need to have him already prepped to go and hold that push. And now, as you can see, Penta, they're bringing the glass this time. I feel like Evil Geniuses is defiantly not giving into that meta just because they don't want to utilize it, because they're not interested in being that team. But I gotta say, you need to be pragmatic in this situation. You're playing against one of your greatest rivals at this LAN. You need to bring out everything. And it's questionable that they did in that round. I really feel like if they could have denied that Goga push, they would have won.
Now, that's the crazy thing, too. They take all that control away from Penta. They throw the smokes out, and all it ends up doing is hurting them because they can't fight with Goga, who just sprints through that smoke. As if only there were an operator who could see through that smoke to help the attackers,
that'd be great,
would have been able to stop that. They don't bring it. They did bring glass once. We saw Necrox play it. They didn't get a lot of value out of the glass. Could be that maybe Necrox isn't just feeling confident on it today. Could be that the team feels that him on other operators would be more valuable. But I'm hard-pressed to think that Goga would have even made that push if he just simply knew there was a glass there. Whether Necrox makes the shots or not, I don't think Goga pushes if he knows that there's a glass watching.
No, he would have heard the glass shots earlier in the round and been like, okay, I'll wait for the smoke to dissipate behind cover. Thank you very much. Another thing to talk about is I have heard from other people and from that Evil Geniuses doesn't have a player who really enjoys playing glass. They don't have one guy on their roster who's like, yeah, I can play glass and be comfortable doing it. I think a Necrox is their main glass whenever he does decide to go there, but from my understanding, I don't think he really enjoys it, which is understandable. He's not exactly, as an operator, glass is not exactly for everyone. You know, you've got to use a DMR. There's no choice there. DMRs are definitely not the highest valued in this game, at least in terms of guns. So that makes sense. Now, on the other end of the field, Pengu with the high rate of fire will get a kill, and Goga will follow it up with another, and VK biting the dust. And early on into this round, Evil Geniuses have forfeited 2 frags, one in the middle of the site. This is very worrisome. Shate has opened, or well, he hasn't. Pengu has opened up the mirror window, and as a result, Shate will play the angle. Looks like a main A site push here from Penta.
Now your smokes, your Yings, and your Candelas will come out. One smoke goes, and look at what EG didn't do, but Penta is, you've got a glass just covering the smoke. And see completely through it. Ying will vault over top a soft wall. Goga and Pengu come in. It looked like Jonas was able to get a kill, but can't do it. BC all alone. What BC2 on the Fabian and Goga. And covered by the smoke are 2 more. He sees the twitch, but can't outduel Pengu. And Penta now will move to match point on border. They were trailing, and now they have the lead.
Decisive win there from Penta, looking pretty strong, and that looks exactly like what we were seeing from EG in the earlier round. Again, the difference was that there was a glass. Now, we're not sure where Penta's going to be going yet. Now, they could mix things up and do customs, but looks like they're going to go for ventilation room. Not much variation there. They do have a castle, though, and this is probably going to be the same hold that they gave us last time they went to ventilation, where they put the castle barricades upstairs, try and delay as much as possible, and have 3 roamers at the end of the round. But guess what? That didn't work for them last time. They lost their only anchors, and after that, Evil Geniuses just walked into site, planted, and held the post plant. Now, Penta setting themselves up downstairs, and they're just waiting to see what's going to happen. Now, this is of interest. Necrox has finally brought a glass. They're going to have that tool to utilize in the future. There's no Ying, though. There's no Ying. They only brought one. Instead, they opted to bring 2 soft destructors. I really have to question the need for a buck and a sledge. Obviously, you have particular pathing for each of them. Maybe they're going to come from different parts of the map. But come on, just bring the disruption. You know, they only bring one end of the stick. They never bring the whole stick. And Penta, on the other hand, who have been doing that, are winning right now as a result.
I imagine the way we're going to see it roll out is BC and NVK are both going to immediately head upstairs, and their focus is going to be first and foremost on just opening up lines of sight for all of their team. Necrox and Young are going to be situated somewhere in the bathroom. You're going to use that thermite to open up the bathroom wall, smoke it a couple times. Young goes in and plants in the safety just by that pile of lumber, that opening up by the open, I guess, wall that you'll see inside a bathroom. Necrox will just cover from afar. At that point, it's really up to Canadian to just do whatever Ash wants to do, maybe apply pressure from one angle. I'm surprised, though, that they would bring a sledge over a Twitch. A Twitch would make a lot more sense to me. I mean, heck, even a Ying would make a lot more sense to me than the sledge itself. But, I mean, it's going for maximum destructibility. If their idea is to open up all of the flooring and completely take away any safety or security from the defenders, the double soft destruction that they have in both Sledge and Buck will be useful, but likely could have gotten more from other operators.
I mean, if we're talking about between the upstairs and the downstairs, that's mostly already been opened up by the defense. You know, you got to remember, those angles go both ways. Anyone can challenge from any angle, so it's definitely a questionable decision when it comes to the soft destructors. Now, for those of you just joining us, this is the 3rd map of this best of 3. It's 5-2 on Consulate in favor of Penta. It was 5-3 in favor of EG on Bank, and now here on Border, it's almost over as we come close to series point. Leading into this round, Goga's going to get the first kill onto NVK, one of the top fraggers for EG in history. Is going to be taken down. That's going to be very, very disheartening for Evil Geniuses, I'm sure.
And some component of that soft destruction is now gone too. They also could have potentially brought the sledge for the castles. That's one thing that we didn't think of as well.
Yeah.
You can directly counter castle with that sledge without having to use a breaching charge, without having to use an exothermic charge. They're just going to push right in though. Ash sprints in and is going to try to take the site away. Canadian takes down Pengu or Fabian, and Necrox finishes him off. Though Canadian from above, shredded from Shate, traded off by BC. Are we going to see some overtime? Shate eliminating Necrox, still going to leave an advantage in favor of Penta. They have not been able to wrestle control away upstairs from Penta, where you can see all 3 remaining defenders are. Last time around, they used that to their advantage. They were able to get in and push on site without having any of the defenders be able to come back to site. They have a tall task, though. Final 30 seconds, a match point and series point. Penta has an opportunity to go to the Invitational, guarantee their spot in the quarterfinals. Goga drops a C4, but it doesn't hit anything just yet. BC eliminates Shate. It's all tied up. C4 goes off. Nobody. Pengu on the flank. BC goes down. It's all up to Young, who manages to get the diffuser off, but Pengu eliminates Young, and that is it. They will very quickly get the diffuser, and Penta Sport will be your first team to make it into the quarterfinals. They'll have tomorrow off, and we'll see them again on Friday. EG faces 1UP tomorrow to see which one of them will join.
GG's coming out in the chat. You can see Penta very elated, happy to come off of that come off of that match successful. They did an excellent job, that's for sure. Now they are going to get to rest up a lot more than the other teams as a result because of that win there. It was a close one, that's for sure. Evil Geniuses put up a heck of a fight. Canadian and BC getting 8 kills for themselves. Pengu getting 10 kills though in response.
That lived up to its billing.
It definitely
I think that was exciting. I wanted to see overtime on Border just to give us a little bit more between these 2 teams. And I'm hoping to see them meet at some point in the quarters if they both make it. But there will be a rematch as 1UP will face off against Evil Geniuses tomorrow, and they will know which one of them will join Penta from Group A. Vitality gone home, so we know at least one team making it and one team that won't. So that's it for this matchup. We'll toss to some replays and then give you Matt Andrews, and we'll be back in just a little bit. But thank you so much for enjoying a much deserved matchup between 2 Titans. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
bomb diffuser. Attackers have recovered their diffuser. Attackers bomb diffuser has been dropped. Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Attackers recovered the bomb. Attackers dropped the diffuser. Time to
So the Six Invitational Day 2 is well underway. Group A's winners and losers brackets have been settled here on the mainstream. You've just seen Penta secure their place in Friday's live quarterfinals in the main arena in front of the awesome sellout crowd that we're going to get in there in Montreal. So Penta will be there and EG will be going through to what we're calling our spot match. That's tomorrow. All day tomorrow, 4 spot matches with the 8 remaining teams. 4 teams from today will be going straight through to the quarterfinals. 4 will be dropping out, as Team Vitality just did, and the 8 remaining ones will be with us all day tomorrow to see whether or not they can get through to the quarterfinals as well. So our Group A bracket has Penta in the quarterfinals. Team Vitality, your community vote from France. That incredible community vote with all those hundreds of thousands of votes. Vitality got the pick. Vitality first out of the 6 Invitational. So we will see EG against 1UP Esport in the Group A settle decider match tomorrow, and that's a rematch of what we saw in our opening game between them yesterday. So are EG able to deal with 1UP? I can tell you now, I chatted to 1UP as soon as they finished their game with Emzo and Fox A on the other stream. As soon as 1UP beat Vitality, they are very happy to face EG again. They are confident about what they can do against EG. They would have also have liked KS to square up against his previous team as well. But Penta are through. Vitality are out. 1UP against EG. Be with you tomorrow. That's Group A for today. Let's go to Group B. Here's the bracket, and I'll talk about what happened yesterday. Team Liquid, XBRK, Latin American team, the invited team from Latin America. Invite extended by Ubisoft to be here. They took on our first ever Russian team in the shape of Room Factory, and 5-3-5-1 put Team Liquid clearly through into our upper bracket. Down in the lower one, Rogue GG, the invited team from North America. They got exactly the same scores over Mind Freak from APAC, just the other way around, 5-1, 5-3. So, 2 pretty short matches in case of Team Liquid and Rogue. Sees them meeting next here on this channel. Twitch.tv/Rainbow6 is where you can watch the winners bracket for this group. The upper bracket you can see in front of you between Team Liquid and Rogue. One of them will follow Penta straight through the quarterfinals. They'll be the #1 seed out of Group B. Down at the bottom of your screen, do or die time is between those 2 teams I've just mentioned, Room Factory from Russia and Mind Freak, the qualifying team from the APAC region. We saw them at last year's 6 Invitational. They went out at the quarterfinal stage in their first game. This year, twice as big a tournament, more teams, 6 days instead of 3. Mind Freak have got to get it done in their losers bracket against Room Factory. Both of those teams lost, as I said, in quite short matches yesterday. Could be a very even concept between them. We'll find out. That game is going to be over on twitch.tv/Ubisoft, and the winners bracket game between Liquid and Rogue, that's going to be right here with Emzo and Milos. Will be bringing you that just after this short break. And of course, all these games as well on YouTube and Facebook. And let us know what you're thinking about Day 2 of the 6 Invitational.